Hi guys, it's Will and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be taking you through the auction house add-on AUX and showing you how you can best utilise it to maximise your earnings potential on the auction house. If you haven't already watched my bank alt video, I highly suggest you watch that first before watching this video. I have a link to that video in the description of this one, so feel free to pause this one and go and check that out. But without further ado guys, let's get into this video. So you've basically got four tabs at the bottom. You've got your search, post, auctions and bids tabs. You may already be familiar with that if you're familiar with TSM, but you start off on the default search tab. So we've basically got our interface here. You've got your search results, saved searches and filter builder. Now if I go ahead up here and type in copper bar, this is basically going to then search copper bar for me, and the slash exact means that that's all I want to see. If I just type in, for example, copper on its own, like that, we'll get everything with the name copper, but since we just want copper bar, I can go ahead and type that in like that and it's going to come up with it exactly. It's only going to search copper bar, and you can see down here it's scanning auctions, and what that means is basically it's looking through all of the pages that have copper on. In this case there were 2 pages, and it basically brings up copper just here for you, and the reason you're only seeing one is basically because it condenses that information for you into a single point. So right now we can see that the historical value of copper bar on this server is currently 100% for this item here, and all of the others are slightly above the normal price, which is basically shown here on the right hand side by the historical value. Now to basically go over each of these tabs here, you can see copper bar, it's only level 1. You've got the auctions number, so for example if you've got 3 stacks of 20, it would say 3 here. This guy's basically got 1 stack of 15, so basically we know that he's got 15 bars for sale. There's 2 hours left on the auction that you can see here. The seller name is the person who's obviously selling it. If you've got 3 dashes like you can see here, that means that their name is a foreign name, and because I'm basically making this on a vanilla private server right now, chances are this guy, you know, he may have foreign letters in his name. Like if it's Chinese for example, it won't show up in this add-on. And then we've basically got auction bid and auction buyout per item. So we can see here that the bid is 5 silver 95 copper and the buyout is 6 silver and no copper. Now as you can see, this is currently listed as per item. By right clicking on this we can change that to per stack. So now we can see that this is 90 silver for the entire stack of 15. We can see that the one below him has got a stack of 5, got 24 hours left, and the per stack bid is 24 silver with the buyout being 30. Now I'm actually just going to go ahead and buy this just for the sake of this video. So you can see here now that that's gone, and you can also see that you won an auction for copper bar and the bid was accepted on that, and we'll go and get that from our mailbox in a minute along with everything else. Now to go over our previous searches, if you go over to your saved searches tab here, you can see 2 different sort of sub tabs if you like. You've got favorite searches and recent searches, and I've basically set these up to give you guys an example. Here you can see recent searches are things that I've searched for in the past. Recent searches aren't necessarily actually recent. For example, this Codex of Defense, now I searched for that about a month ago. I haven't used the auction house much on this server, so that's quite an old search now, but it still catalogues it for me in case I want to go back and take a look. Here we've got favorite searches, which I've just set up simply to sort of give you guys an idea of what that might look like. So for example, you've got, you know, tiger meat, invisibility potions. These are white items. You've got the Nexus crystal for enchanting, a green ring and a blue weapon. Now if I just want to search by one of these, I can just go ahead and click it and it'll come up with this. So I've got red wolf meat here. I can see that right now the cheapest stack is 4. We've got our auction bid, auction buyout, but the historical value of this is 154% of what it normally is. So using that information, I may determine that actually I don't really want to pay that much for it. I'm just going to sit and wait and see if we can get a cheaper deal later on. Now going back to saved searches, let's say I search something new. So we've got our copper bar here in our recent searches, and you can also see the red wolf meat just popped up there. Let's say that I want to make this a favorite search. So it's just a case of me clicking on this. I can right click this, and as you can see now it's been added here. If I want to remove one of these, for example, let's say I don't want the tiger meat anymore, I can right click that and delete. I also have the function to move that up and down or enable auto buy, which I don't recommend doing. Now coming over here to our filter builder, this is basically the last tab of these 3. So just for an example here, we've basically got the name of the item if you want to search for that exactly. I've already predetermined this here, so but normally this is blank, but you've got a level range, and just for the sake of this example I will put in 10 to 19. I'm going to look for some items to disenchant, just to give an example of how you can use this tool for your own advantage. You've got item class if you want to select a certain class. I'm just going to leave that at all. Subclasses if you want those. You've got your item slot as well. So let's say you're looking for a piece of armor. We're looking for cloth armor to be specific, maybe a chest item. So we can search via that between levels 10 to 19, and that's fine if you want to do that. I'm just going to leave this at all low just so we can find some cheap deals to disenchant and make a bit of money on. And then for the minimum quality as well, you can choose there. But anyway, so let's go ahead now. Just before we do search for, we can also, I'm just going to bring you over to the components here. You've basically got a load of string values, if you like. So for example, let's say you take this one here. Let's say we're actually going to search for armor between level 10 to 19, where the by vendor profit, which is what this is here, comes out at, let's say, 10 silver. So basically you'll search the entire auction house now for armor between level 10 to 19 that we can vendor for a profit of at least 10 silver. And by doing enter there, that adds that to the filter. So this is actually really advanced. You can make some really advanced search functions by that. Just because of the fact we're looking for some cheap deals, I'm just going to take this off here. You could also do buy disenchant profit, but if you're going to look at doing this, I highly recommend that you get familiar with your auction house price when it comes to all of the various different enchanting mats, because for this server I don't have a good grip on the value of things, so I'm only going to be, I'm only going to sort of do this manually for now. But if you get familiar with your server, there's definitely a lot of string values that you can use here to help you maximize your potential on the auction house. But actually what I am going to do just before we do this is I am just going to change the minimum quality to uncommon, just to sort of help filter out stuff to enchant. So let's just go ahead and do search. So you can see here now that we are scanning. We've got a 1-page scan so far out of 31 pages, so it's going to take a second to do this. But as you can see now, it's starting to filter all of the items level, etc. So we can see here actually the historical value of Lambent Scale Cloak is currently at 10%, so it's going for 12 silver right now, which sort of implies to me that probably I've seen an auction, yeah, there you go, I've seen an auction for this at 1 gold 19. Now, intuition says that it's probably not worth that kind of money. I can't imagine anyone paying 1 gold for a level 19 cloak with 4 strength and 2 spirit. However, that 12 silver is, fairly cheap, and I can actually buy that to disenchant, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. Yeah, that's basically the sum up of the search function on AUX. Moving on now to the post tab at the bottom, we've got your entire inventory listed on the left here. Basically with this, you can click anything and it will search it for you, scan it, and then tell you what the value of it is. So for example, I've got 7 light feathers here that I don't necessarily need on my mage. I can go ahead and press that. It's then going to start scanning them. So we can see here that it is now scanning. We've got 1 of 8 pages to scan. So there's quite a lot of light feathers for sale right now in the auction house. But while it's scanning, guys, just to go over the top, so we can see here we've got 7 light feathers selected. You've got your stack size and stack count. So for example, we know that light feathers can go all the way up to 20 here, but I've only got 7. Now I only want to sell the 1 stack as it is. I don't want to sell them individually, so I'm just going to select 7 here and stack count 1. If I want to sell them individually, I could go to stack size 0, stack count 7. It does do that automatically, but for the sake of convenience, I'm just going to take stack size 7. You've got your unit starting price, which is basically, if you like, the bid. So we've got 66 here for the bid, and we've got unit buyout price at 89. So we can see now that the historical value is currently at 275%. So that's actually quite good. We're actually getting 2 silver, 66 copper each for each feather, so that's not too bad. So we're going to go ahead now and press this here. By pressing this auction of 15, that basically puts me just underneath him. So you can see here that this guy's currently charging 2 silver 66 copper. We're actually charging 2 silver 66 as well, but I'm actually just going to go ahead and change that to a 5. And we can now go ahead and also do the same for the bid. So I want my bid to be under 71 copper here. I can select that. That's basically going to list us there. So now we've basically got a stack size of 7. Each of the buyout prices on this 7. So this is actually 2 times 7. We've got 14 silver here. That's all set up for now. I'm ready to post this. I can set my duration here. So we've got 2 hours, 8 hours, and 24 hours. It is worth noting the deposit does correspond to the length of the duration. So if I go for like 8 hours, for example, you can see that's dropped dropped, or only 8 copper. If I go for the full 24 hours, that's 24 copper. But this item is now ready for us to post, so I can go ahead and post that. If I wanted to do a refresh on the search, I can do, so I'm going to go ahead, post this now to the auction house. And just to give you an example, let's take something else here. What else do we want to sell? 3 solid stone. This is always a decent seller. Really quick scan there because there's not that much on the auction house. It didn't even have more than 1 page, so we've only got 1 page now for the auction house to go on. Currently above historical value, we can see that it's currently selling for 181%, and this may be the normal value now. It could just be displaying this because I haven't used the auction house recently. So we can see that we're getting 10 silver, 99 copper per solid stone. So I know roughly now that I've got about 30 silvers worth here, so I can go ahead and press that, and I can go ahead and take this. I've basically set my price up here. I can go ahead and say 24 hours, and boom, I've posted another solid stone. And once you get used to this, it does go very, very quickly. So I've got some thick wolf hide, and that's posted. You know, I've got some tiger's eye. Let's say I want to post these 8 tender wolf steaks, but instead I want to sell them individually. I'm going to have a stack count of 8 and a stack size of 0. So we can go ahead and say they're 21 silver each, 19 silver bid, post, and you can see here that it's actually automatically categorizing them and filtering them into my bags and then posting them as individual items. So that pretty much sums that up. Now we've got some auctions going. We can go ahead and head over to the auctions tab. This is basically showing you all of your auctions that you currently have on the auction house. Again, the time left on those auctions, the level of the item. If anyone's bid, you're going to be able to see here. You won't be able to see their name if their name is, again, like foreign characters. Now if we head over to the bids function, this is basically a tab that allows you to track your bids. So if I just go ahead, for example, and this guy's basically got this Outrunner's Cloak of the Boar. It's a 4 silver bid. I don't particularly want it, but for the sake of this example, let's just go ahead and hit bid. You can see down here it says bid accepted. We head over to the bids now. We can currently see that we are the high bidder on this item. So it comes down to it, I may win this in the auction if someone doesn't buy that, in which case I'll just disenchant it. And if someone outbids you, you will be able to see as well that somebody else is the higher bidder, and you can raise your bid accordingly should you wish to. Now that basically brings us up to date on AUX. Should you wish to have the Blizzard UI, you can simply hit this button down here and it will take you to the default Blizzard auction house. These tabs down here are the auctioneer tabs that I do not use, just because I find AUX is so much more useful. So that just about wraps it up for this video, gents. I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial of AUX. Please let me know in the comment section if I missed anything, or if you have any ideas for future videos. I always love getting feedback from the people who watch my content. I wish you the best of luck with your auction house experience, and as always guys, I will see you in the next video.